Proverbs chapter 6. My son, if you have put up security for your neighbor, have given your pledge for a stranger, if you are snared in the words of your mouth, caught in the words of your mouth, then do this, my son, and save yourself. For you have come into the hand of your neighbor. Go, hasten, and plead urgently with your neighbor. Give your eyes no sleep, and your eyelids no slumber. Save yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, like a bird from the hand of the fowler. Go to the ant, O sluggard, consider her ways, and be wise. Without having any chief officer or ruler, she prepares her bread in summer and gathers her food in harvest. How long will you lie there, O sluggard? When will you arise from your sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a robber, and want like an armed man. A worthless man, a wicked man, goes out with crooked speech, winks with his eyes, signals with his feet, points with his finger, with perverted heart devises evil, continually sowing discord. Therefore calamity will come upon him suddenly. In a moment he will be broken beyond healing. There are 6 things that the Lord hates, 7 that are an abomination to him: haughty eyes, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that make haste to run to evil, a false witness who breathes out lies, and one who sows discord among brothers. My son, keep your father's commandment and forsake not your mother's teaching. Bind them on your heart always, tie them around your neck. When you walk, they will lead you. When you lie down, they will watch over you. And when you awake, they will talk with you. For the commandment is a lamp and the teaching a light, and the reproofs of discipline are the way of life, to preserve you from the evil woman, from the smooth tongue of the adulteress. Do not desire her beauty in your heart, and do not let her capture you with her eyelashes. For the price of a prostitute is only a loaf of bread, but a married woman hunts down a precious life. Can a man carry fire next to his chest and his clothes not be burned? Or can one walk on hot coals and his feet not be scorched? So is he who goes in to his neighbor's wife. None who touches her will go unpunished. People do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy his appetite when he is hungry. But if he is caught, he will pay 7-fold, and he will give all the goods of his house. He who commits adultery lacks sense. He who does it destroys himself. He will get wounds and dishonor, and his disgrace will not be wiped away. For jealousy makes a man furious, and he will not spare when he takes revenge. He will accept no compensation. He will refuse though you multiply gifts. All right, welcome to day 6 of our Proverbs Bible study. We are in chapter 6. Again, that makes sense. Where else would we be on day 6? But we're going to keep cracking on. If you've not watched the other videos, please go check those out after this one. You don't have to have watched all of the movies to know where we are. It's like the Avengers movies or the Marvel movies. Like you kind of have, like if you're in like Loki season 2 and you've not started Iron Man, you are probably really lost. But we don't have to be there in reading Proverbs, thankfully. But there's a lot here that we're going to unpack. And one of the biggest things I want to unpack is the 6 things that God hates and the 7 that are an abomination to him. And we'll dive into that here in just a few minutes. But we do have a lot of warnings, and there's also one specific section here where it's not necessarily a warning, but it's just kind of this advisement and a reminder to keep the commandments and a reaffirmation of sticking to godly principles. Again, it says to keep your father's commandments in verse 20. Do not forsake your mother's teaching. Bind them on your heart always. Tie them around your neck. And when you walk, they will lead you. When you lie down, they will watch over you. When you wake, they will talk with you. The commandment is a lamp and the teaching a light. And the reproofs of discipline are the way of life. I love that verse. The reproofs of discipline are the way of life. An idea that just seems to fly in the face of what society teaches us and tells us through social media, through TV, through movies, through politics, through the workforce. Everything teaches you to do what feels right, and whatever your truth is true for you. Little to no accountability, affirmation, empathy over truth in love. And the Bible teaches exactly the opposite of that. It teaches truth and love through the reproof of discipline. Believers, I encourage you to embrace that and accept that, embrace what the Proverbs is teaching here. I guarantee you it will change your life, and you will be a person that is salt and light to the world, because just the way that Jesus will shine through you in the discipline that you take in studying the scripture and applying it to your life, people will start to notice it. All right, starting with verses 1 through 5. So Solomon starts with a warning about making financial promises, specifically co-signing someone else's debt. Upon reading this verse, it might not make much sense, and I think the gist of it is to make sure that you think about what you are doing when it comes to your finances. And there's actually a verse just in a couple of chapters before this, chapter 4, verse 26, ponder the path of your feet, then all your ways will be sure. Do not swerve to the right or the left, turn your foot away from evil. So a reminder to be intentional and thoughtful about the decisions that you make, specifically when it comes to finances. And there's context here talking about taking on the debt of someone else that may not be able to pay that debt. Don't tie your future, especially your financial future, to someone else's irresponsibility, and don't make emotional financial commitments. And this might be co-signing a loan to an apartment or to a vehicle, or even clicking, I did some research, clicking agree to something like on the internet that you don't fully understand. Kind of a modern form of a binding word. And when it comes to your word, don't pledge it foolishly. Let it have meaning and know what that meaning is. Moving on to verse 6 through 11, he kind of alludes, he paints the picture of an ant, which is like one of the hardest working insects out there. He says that, go to the ant, you sluggard, consider its ways and be wise. The ant doesn't need motivation. It doesn't need correction or discipline. It just goes and prepares and takes care of itself. Verse 9, how long will you lie there, O sluggard? When you arise from your sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands, and poverty will come upon you like a robber, and want like an armed man. And so it's really hitting home on the concept of laziness and procrastination. And laziness can ultimately lead to poverty. It leads to procrastination, which leads to these negative habits of doing things that we should not do, and habits of not doing things that we should do. So how do we overcome this laziness? How do we make our way that of the ant? I know that sounds kind of weird, but essentially, this is what I wrote. Deny victim mentality, where everything is always someone else's fault as opposed to your fault, or at least your responsibility. I also believe that victim mentality assumes entitlement, like you are owed something. And if you look at the ant doesn't have this victim mentality. They don't believe that they're owed anything. They just go and they just do. So in short, if the ant can do it, so can we. And if you want to grow spiritually, relationally, financially, emotionally, professionally, all the leaves, take up the responsibility of self-control and self-discipline. Dive into the word, learn what biblical wisdom is and what godly principles are, and abide by them. And then this next section is talking about Solomon. This is verses 12 through 15. But it's talking about the worthless person, someone who deceives and manipulates and causes division, sows up discord, someone that gossips, someone that manipulates, gaslights is a popular term, maybe even rage baiting intentionally, to really get people stirred up. I think that there is a correlation between this type of person and the person that has this entitlement mentality or victim mentality, and it's like they're really just lazy. I will say, speaking from experience, I have a huge issue with procrastination. I procrastinated making this video, and I got to leave here in 45 minutes, and I should have done it sooner. I watched YouTube videos instead. But here we are. We've made the video, and this is good. This was the discipline. It was, I said, I'm going to do it. It's the right thing to do. I'm not going to procrastinate anymore. All that to say, the person that has that type of mindset, it ultimately leads them to this next person that's being described in verses 12 through 15. A worthless man, a wicked man, goes about with crooked speech, winks his eyes, signals with his feet, points with his finger, with a perverted heart, devises evil, continually sowing discord. It just kind of makes you feel kind of cringe and kind of yucky when you read that. Not that you know exactly who this person is specifically in your life, but maybe there might be somebody in your workplace that's not a believer that you can point to and say, that person kind of fits the mold of what the Bible is saying right here. And it kind of makes you feel a little bit yucky, but it does say that their calamity will come soon. And it's not so much that, they're just going to get struck by lightning, but they become a byproduct of what they reap what they sow. They become a byproduct of what they put out in the world, right? Like we've said in previous videos, what goes into the heart will come out of the heart. What goes down in the well comes up in the bucket. And if they're sowing negativity, they're going to reap negativity in their life. Now to the next section, which is probably the title of this video, is talking about the things that God hates, the things that God finds an abomination. And there are 7 of them, 6 that he hates. Haughty eyes is just pride. And growing up where I grew up, I heard it said, an idiom, a saying was that person's got their nose so far up that if it rained on them, it'd drown. They're like snobby, or they think highly of themselves, essentially. Thinking that you're superior, you're above others. A lying tongue, pretty self-explanatory, whether that's just intentionally lying or lying to protect yourself or to get something. Now, remember, these are things that God hates, and we're going to talk about that here in just one second. God hates hands that shed innocent blood. Number 4, a heart that devises wicked plans. These are people that are out for their own gain. They scheme, they manipulate, they gaslight. Number 5, feet that rush to do wrong. They are eager to sin. They are impulsive with their behaviors. They aren't the person that in chapter 4 talks about to think about what you do. Be intentional about your decisions. Number 6, a false witness who breathes out lies. Someone that corrupts testimony. Someone that their dishonesty is intentionally trying to hurt someone. There's probably a connection between just that one and then also number 2, a lying tongue. And then last, number 7, a person who stirs up conflict amongst brothers. And, these are people, this is family. This is people that these are friends, people in the church, people in your community. And I think the prerequisite is the pride. It's the gossip. It's the, the pride, the haughtiness, like I'm better than you, I have something over you type mentality. They gotta have a certain mindset about you, or you have to have a certain mindset about them. I'm calling you out. We have that mindset about someone to like justify how we feel about them, and it kind of like subverts our image of them with that line of thinking. But the Bible commands against that. The Bible says that we are all created in God's image. Now, a little caveat here. Hate. How can we say that God, who is all loving, can hate? How is that possible? The thing is, we have to reframe what we mean by hate. Oftentimes, when we use the word hate, it's done in a way that is in disdain towards a thing or towards someone. I hate Brussels sprouts. I'll try them every time Jess asks, do I want to try her Brussels sprouts? I'll try them again. I've tried them 15 times, but they're still going to taste just like trash to me. I'm still going to hate them. This is not the type of hatred that God is talking about here, or Solomon is talking about in regards to God. Or it might be hatred towards another person because of what they did to you, and you have a hard time forgiving them. Or you have a hard time letting go of that bitterness and that anger. Satan takes that and he says, man, look at what they did to you. Don't you just hate them? I'm speaking from experience. As I said in the last video, I don't have an A+ report card here, okay? There's things that I've dealt with, tremendously hard things that I've dealt with. And Satan loves to take those little nuanced feelings and just kind of like a balloon, just blow up that balloon. And oftentimes what we think when we're in our head is not 100% the truth. Getting back to it. So how can we say that God hates? Again, we got to reframe what we mean by hate. Hate in the context of God hating is a righteous hatred, a moral opposition. The truth is, because God is perfectly good, he must hate what destroys goodness, what is antithetical or anti-good. And because he is love, he must hate whatever harms those that he loves. So when the Bible is talking about God hating, it's not revealing a cruel God, it's revealing a just God. And because there is sin in the world, God must be just towards that sin, and the justness towards that sin is his hatred of that sin. And then again, we're back on the adultery train. I encourage you guys to go watch the last video. There's a lot of important things that we talk about there, but the chapter closes out with another warning about adultery. Solomon reminds us that God's commandments, they're not there to inhibit or limit us or restrict us. They're there to protect us. Can a man carry fire next to his chest and his clothes not be burned? Or can one walk on hot coals and his feet not be scorched? You might think that you're in control, but you're going to get burned. It's essentially what it's saying here. The wisdom of chapter 6 is it's punchy, and there's a lot here to digest, a lot to consume. And honestly, man, we could take any one of these little things here, even the laziness, and man, we could dissect it, and we could pray over it, and we could work at it for weeks. And man, that's just kind of how it is. That's the sanctification process for us. If you're a new Christian and you're watching this video, this is what sanctification looks like. You know, we get justified through Christ, and then we go to work, and we try to be salt and light to the world and set apart from the world. We're to be in the world, but not of the world. And biblical wisdom, living that out, is having those godly principles right here in the Word. It's integrity, it's diligence, it's humility. It's being anti what it just laid out here for us, and having the same heart towards sin as God does. And God hates these things, and we're to hate those things as well. And it's not to hate the person. Don't mishear me. It's not to hate the person that does those things. It's to love them in Christ and tell them the truth, and hate the sin. It's to hate that which possesses them and that which controls them and leads them to hell. We're to proclaim and to live out the righteousness of God as best as we can. And just every day opening the Word and just trying to get better just as Christians. So if this has resonated with you, be sure to share this with a friend. Be sure to like, comment, let me know your thoughts down below, and we will see you guys in day 7, chapter 7 of Proverbs. Again, that makes sense. So, and we'll unpack it. See you.